He told me all that, and I said, well, I guess he's.
Yeah, yeah, mine was nice and peaceful and quiet, and not a whole lot of excitement. I like it.
No, I did that,
But you have
the
to
whole
go
day
there.
classic.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
He's gonna be there for sure. And I don't know about, tomorrow, because I know they got games for the day tomorrow.
Yeah, I saw the schedule. I gotta go. I gotta go do a damn stress test after a while.
I ate it alive, by the way.
Oh, I'm sure you did.
Yeah.
I'm sure you
He
passed.
goes,
the
how
flight.
about you smoke?
You have a good holiday?
That's fun.
Gone.
There's my man.
Morning, sir. How are you?
Morning, Hakeem.
Hi, Chambers County Commissioner Court come to order. This is a regular meeting of the Commissioners Court on Tuesday, 27th day of December, 2022 at 9:30 a.m. County Courtroom, Anahuac, Texas. You'll all rise. Bobby Hall, if you'll lead us, please.
Good, you know about it, but over the holidays, we lost several of our citizens. With Dane Jones, who for, Parks Department, Terrence Parks, his son, passed away. Berta Thibodeau, Kelly Thibodeau's wife passed away, and then Lynn Hughes, lived right down the street here. And then Ruth Ann Forrest Miller, I don't know if y'all remember her, she works in the post office for years, she's a great lady, passed away. And a friend of ours, Lance Nolan, was married to Patty Matthews, his dad passed away. So remember these families I've mentioned here in your prayers, and just keep them in your prayers so that only that God will comfort them and help them give the peace. So let's pray. Lord, we come before you on this last court. Lord, we just ask you to be with us, give us wisdom, and all of us that have any part in making decisions for Chambers County, that you remember, that we remember that you are in control of all things. You are God of all things. Lord, as I've mentioned these people to the court, may you keep these families in your heart. May we remember them. And may you give them peace and comfort as only you can. We can say a lot of things, but you're the great comfort. You give them peace. Now, Lord, again, guide us and direct us. And as we approach the new year, may we all resolve to be better citizens. In whatever we do, may we reflect that Christ lives within us. In Christ's name, I pray. Amen.
Johnson, please.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state, under God, one and indivisible.
Thank you, Steve. Well, I hope everyone had a Merry Christmas. Mr. Keem Olajuwon, it's good to have you as a guest this morning. All right, let's go to your item. Very first thing on the agenda, after citizens' comments, I don't see any. 1.1, discuss and consider resolution recognizing Akeem Olajuwon for his generous donation to Chambers County. Commissioner Combs, if you'd like to read that resolution.
I would, Judge, but if I could, right before I read the resolution, I'd like to tell a little bit of story how this thing is unfolded. When we first started looking at running Chambers Parkway from all the way from 146 over to 3180, a very large portion of it would be going through property that is owned by Akeem Olajuwon. So we reached out to Akeem back, I don't know, a couple of years ago, talking about the alignment coming through. We looked at the alignment and talked about it. And at the time, we were planning on doing a land swap with Akeem. And the land that the county was going to swap, we did not acquire it. So we can no longer do the land swap. So we were looking at, a purchase from Akeem. And it's a pretty good purchase, quite a bit of land going through his right away, going through his property. So a few weeks ago, early in December, I get a call from my good buddy, Akeem Olajuwon, and he says, "Hey, do you have a survey for this property, the right away?" And so I started checking, and we did not have a survey. So I called him back, and he wanted to know if we could get the survey. We needed to get it, and we need to have it done by the end of the year. So I started checking with our engineers what it's going to take, and they said, "Well, we got to true up the alignment." So, back and forth, making sure the alignment was good with Akeem going through there. And then it came to my attention that Akeem was planning on donating that right away to the county. And it had to happen this year. So we got all of our consultants and everybody together. And it seemed like, there was just a lot of no's. We can't make this happen. It's impossible. It's over the holidays. You know, we got to true up the alignment, we got to get surveys, we can't get title commitment. So we had a meeting and it was determined that we're going to make this happen. We're not no's not an answer. We're going to make it happen. And I want to give credit to our road and bridge, to Bobby Hall, you know, to Corey Taylor. Bobby jumped in and he got with Chambers County Abstract. They immediately started working on doing the title search and the commitment. Our engineers, Freeze and Nichols, they got the alignment trued up, sent it over to TNP. TNP jumped on it, got the survey done, and we made it happen. It was a Christmas miracle. Akeem has been wonderful. His attorney, Travis Crowder, is an old friend of mine. Actually, he used to be my attorney back at one time, and he's been great. Just everybody pulled together and made it happen. So having said that, I want to read this resolution. Whereas Akeem Olajuwon, nicknamed the Dream, was born, and Akeem, if I mispronounce anything, please forgive me. Okay, Akeem Olajuwon, nicknamed the Dream, was born in Lagos, Nicaragua, Nigeria. Well, you got me nervous.
Okay, you want to read it?
I got this. And traveled to the U.S. to play basketball for the University of Houston, leading the Cougars to 3 trips to the Final Four and 2 national championship final appearances. And whereas Akeem Olajuwon was the first pick in the 1984 NBA draft, joining the Houston Rockets and leading them to back-to-back NBA championships in 1994 and in 1995. And whereas, as part of the Dream Team 2, Akeem Olajuwon helped lead the U.S. national team to a gold medal at the Atlanta Olympics in 1996. And whereas Akeem Olajuwon is universally considered to be one of the greatest basketball centers and one of the greatest basketball players of all time, he is one of only 4 players in NBA history to score a quadruple double. That's points, rebounds, block shots, and steals. He was inducted into the Naismith Memorial Basketball Hall of Fame in 2008 and in the International FIBA Basketball Hall of Fame in 2016. And whereas the NBA recently named the Defensive Player of the Year award after Akeem Olajuwon. And whereas Akeem Olajuwon became intrigued by the economic viability and promise that Chambers County offered purchasing a large tract of land in Mont Belvieu, he developed the shops at Mont Belvieu in 2014, followed by a storage and RV warehouse shortly thereafter. And whereas Akeem Olajuwon has generously donated to Chambers County 12.392 acres of right-of-way for the expansion of Gordon Spears Chambers Parkway, a value of $2,698,840. Therefore, be it resolved that Chambers County Commissioners Court does hereby recognize Akeem Olajuwon for his contribution to the economic viability of Chambers County and expresses its sincere appreciation for his generous donation to the citizens of Chambers County.
Come on up, Chief. And I got a motion by Commissioners Court, second by Commissioners Court, and all those are in favor.
Aye. Thank you, sir.
Good.
You're my favorite basketball player. Y'all come on, let's get a picture with you. Run around there.
I'll go to.
Thank you.
We'll come around and get a picture with you.
Yeah, you still wouldn't be there.
I'm gonna stand on my tiptoe.
I'm getting on my tiptoes.
Okay. All right, which one are we
Right
going?
first, I get the official county picture.
Look over there.
Okay, I'm done.
All right, over here.
And back over here to Miss Green.
You're drawing a crown.
All right.
Well, you didn't tell him we wanted to see a dream shape before you left?
The original, is this your?
This original,
Oh, you brought this?
this original.
That's the
They,
The deed?
Yeah, the one that's,
Okay.
no, right.
Okay, yeah.
We can,
Thank you so much. Really, I can't tell you how much.
that's that body.
We get clerk's office.
King, thank you.
They won't see the
Yes,
drink,
sir.
they won't see the drink take before you leave.
Hey, and our attorney's got a jersey back here. He wants to autograph it before they leave.
And no pressure, I want a dream shake before you leave.
Mr. Lightline.
All right. Did you get paperwork?
Yeah, get a copy.
All right.
Bobby, I get a copy.
Did we give him a? Copy of-
Hey, Lauren, go back there and get one of my coins and give it to him, please.
Want an alligator form?
Sure,
I'll give you.
I probably have one back there.
Do you want him to address the court?
Yes, King, would you like to? You sure? Okay.
I'll bid a lot of, from a little bitty piece of floor. After the original.
Got me cut off the camera. I'm moving over.
Do that.
And I'm just like, we're paying that much for this little.
Ah.
And it sits in a prominent place in our living room, but we were your biggest fan.
Tell another little story about it.
Come on, Billy.
I gotta tell another story. I have told Hakeem this story. But when the Rockets were playing for the second back-to-back championship, my family and I made a trip over to England, and we were staying way out in the countryside in an old castle that had been converted over into, well, I guess just apartments or a hotel. And the radio reception there wasn't any. I mean, it was terrible. So the time, they were 7 hours ahead of us. So, I don't know what time the game started, but here I was, at 3:00 in the morning, up trying to get the radio to tune in. And I found an old military station that I could pick up. And it was it was an old dial radio on the tuner. And so I'm trying to dial it in and start getting out here a few words. I could hear all the screaming in the background. And every now and then I could kind of pick up what the score was. But I stayed up all night long, up until about 5:00 in the morning, watching or listening to that ball game. And at the end, it was obvious who won because of the cheers and the stuff, but it was great.
Yeah, great career. We really enjoyed. All right. To continue with the Love Fest, 1.2. Discuss and consider resolution expressing deep gratitude to Commissioner Combs for his hard work and dedication in Chambers County. Whereas Billy Combs was elected to serve the people of Precinct 4 as Chambers County Commissioner 2018 and joined the court in January 2019. Whereas Commissioner Combs came to Texas with a suitcase from North Carolina and taught himself to weld. Commissioner Combs used his welding skills to build multiple businesses, including Adrian Industrial, an industrial maintenance and service company, and Cody Company, a fabrication shop, both of which perform work within local and surrounding plant and construction zones. Whereas prior to serving as a member of Commissioner's Court, Commissioner Combs served on the Barbers Hill ISD School Board as a commissioner for CLC&D and as mayor of Beach City from May 2010 through November 2018. Whereas Commissioner Combs used a lifetime of entrepreneurship to guide the county through unprecedented growth and economic development during his tenure, focusing on development guidelines, transportation improvements, and economic incentives specifically. And whereas Commissioner Combs is married to Patricia and the proud father of Adrian, wife Shay, and Cody, is looking forward to spending more time with his family and rejoining the business that he owns with his son in his retirement. Therefore, be it resolved, the members of Chambers County Commissioners Court, people of Chambers County, to hereby express their deep gratitude to Commissioner Combs for his hard work and dedications to this county. Motion by Commissioner Court, second by the Commissioner's Court. Except for Billy, you want to vote on it or not?
Yeah, I'm voting for it.
All right. Those in favor?
All right.
Motion carries.
Thank you, Billy.
All right, Billy, let's give you your resolution.
It's been a pleasure.
You want to say something for? I mean, I know this is the one you've been looking for, the last one.
No, it's the last one, but no, anyhow, it's been a pleasure. I wished I could accomplish more. Glad we got a lot of things started. You got a long ways to go. Keep it going. Don't take your foot off the gas. And
Look at him, we say that.
yeah, well, I've been preaching this to him, and he's gonna do it. I know it. No, and I am honestly glad that Ryan's gonna be sitting in this chair up here. I know he'll do a great job. And I'm going to step down from court. I'm still a citizen, so watch out.
I know. Hey, you know, on behalf of the court, you've worked really, really hard. One of the hardest, I've worked with 22, I think, commissioners over the years, and you've been one of the hardest working commissioners that I've got to work with. So thank you for all that. On behalf of Chairman County, come on, let's take a picture.
Start over that way and over the.
They say.
All righty.
I'm smiling, Sue.
You're doing well. I'm retiring.
Congratulations.
Thank you, sir. Been a pleasure. Thank you.
Ryan, you want to sit up here and see what it feels like? For the record, Commissioner Hammond is not here today. Okay, we're having a little reception at 10:30 for Commissioner, for the Commissioner across the hall. You're welcome to join us. You're welcome. Right, 5.1, discuss and consider resolution authorizing the submission of the CDBG MIT regional mod application to the Texas General Land Office, the amount of $14,923,200, contingent on addressing all public comments at the conclusion of the 14-day comment period ending on January 4th, 2023 at 5 p.m. Sam.
I've just continued the trend of extremely long and descriptive court items, so you're welcome for that.
Yeah.
So as you guys are aware, this is the allocation that we received from HGAC as part of the CDBG mitigation mod response to Hurricane Harvey. We received an allocation of $14.9 million, 50% of which had to be used in low to moderate income neighborhoods. The project that was at the top of my list, as you guys are aware, is performing some infrastructure improvements in the way of wastewater runoff on Work Street and Texas Avenue here in the city of Anahuac, north of the canal. That is an extremely low income area that was flooded during both Hurricane Harvey and Tropical Storm Imelda. Many of the homes there were not repaired after the storm and have been torn down or been condemned. As is the nature with that type of property, the lots are extremely small and there's very, very limited easement for drainage work. And so any drainage improvements that we do will have to be done under the roadway with a box culvert. That increases the price dramatically, the cost associated with these types of projects. It is still something that we need to do, and it's something that I think is very important that we accomplish, because that is our most at-risk population, or one of our most at-risk populations in the county. When we got into this project, we determined that as the trend has happened, things are more expensive now than they were several years ago. And so the project is going to be very near the top of that $14 million number, leaving very little left over that could have been invested into other projects. We're also racing the clock in a way. Not sure how familiar the court is with what's happening with GLO in the city of Houston and Harris County, but they're embroiled in a legal battle currently Harris County and the city of Houston had some heartburn over the way that allocations were given and then taken back, so on and so forth. And they've sued the GLO. And so while we could have submitted 2 separate applications for 2 projects, my recommendation is that we submit this single application and expand the footwork of this project to include some areas outside of that, that exact Work Street and Texas Avenue area. Because I am concerned that if we don't get under contract with GLO for our full $14.9 million, that will no longer be available to us when they settle with the city of Houston and Harris County. My understanding from conversations that I've had with our consultants and with the GLO is that anything not contractually obligated may be subject to settlement and payout to HGA or to Harris County and Houston. You know, it's not a perfect world that we live in. It's not a perfect situation. I was really excited at the possibility of not having to be bound to LMI neighborhoods with these dollars. Unfortunately, I think that my role, the task that you guys have given me, is to make the best decisions and recommendations for the entire county and to make sure that we can get as much as we possibly can. And that's why we've done this. I do think that this will be very helpful for not only that area, but it also relieves some of the drainage route that's going out towards Airport Road, because that's a major drainage pathway where all this neighborhood was currently draining, and expanding the footprint will also prepare for future development. There's a piece of property directly east of here that's looked at or being posed for development of a subdivision as well. And then there's a new subdivision just north of this particular area too. So I'm happy to answer any questions you may have.
Judge, if I may, I got a call this morning from Commissioner Hammond in among about a couple of things, and this one was definitely one that we both wanted to discuss. And I think he and I both agreed, and I wanted to express some of his concern that for the greater good of the county, what you're doing is probably the right way to go. There is a good chance that the city of Houston could throw some cold water on this, and it could go away. So we think you're doing it the right way, and I definitely think this is the right way to go. And you know, Commissioner Hammond's concern, as is mine, we need to do a lot of work on the west side. And historically, the west side gets overlooked a lot. And Hackberry is got just as much priority as anything in the county. As a matter of fact, it's been obviously named every time we've looked at it, the #1 site that we need to work on. So I think his point and my point is, you know, this is for the greater good of the county. It's in the right place. It needs to be done, but we need to figure out how to do Hackberry.
Yeah, there's
Yes,
no
sir.
doubt about it. Then when we can't, this does not qualify for the load of mod.
So
No, it does not, but it's 50-50.
So
Yeah,
we actually did submit we've submitted an application to address Hackberry Creek and Cotton Bayou through HMGE. So that project is already got funding proposed for, assuming that we are approved for that. Just for the court's information and for the public, I maintain a list in my office of potential grant projects or projects that will likely need to have grant funds tied to them, because I like to say grant money is not free money. It's pennies on the dollar, though. It's cheap money. And so that it has been at the top as long as, if not longer. I was looking this morning back at our records from post Hurricane Ike. Hackberry and Cotton were included in those discussions. So that's been happening for 10, 15 years now. So I totally agree with what you're saying. And like you said, it's just a tough situation to be in, trying to make the best decision. But this is my recommendation, and as always, I'll do what you want me to do with a smile on my
But I
face.
mean, if we split it, it wouldn't be enough to do either job.
No, correct.
And it's much better to do one job all the way.
Right. And then I just want to, I can't guarantee this, but it is worth noting that there's a possibility that if all of these funds are not used for this project, we can go to GLO and ask them to reallocate to another project. And we will have used up our 50% LMI and could potentially look at putting this towards the match associated with Hackberry and Cotton, because it is a 10% match on that HMGP application, or starting that project. So that is a possibility, not something I want to guarantee to you guys, because I'd hate to say it and then it not happen, but we've done that before. I did talk with Michael at Public Management this morning, and that's something that they think is feasible as well. So just that you guys, so you have all of the information when making a decision.
I want to take this time. I think this is your last item on the agenda. Sam, you've been a pleasure. Guys, y'all need to take care of her. she really goes above and beyond on everything, and the amount of grant money and stuff that she pulls in and manages more than pays for her salary and then some. So
It made me tear up. Thank you.
Thanks, Sam.
I appreciate that.
Well, Billy's tearing up too, so.
That's because we're good friends. We've gotten to know each other really well. It was my first when I started as department head. He was my first liaison, and I called him quite a bit and talked to him about challenges that I face. And he's always been a really big supporter, and I appreciate that.
Yeah, I'll make a motion to approve it.
Thank you.
Motion by Commissioner Combs, second by Commissioner Gore. Was that motion to say how good Sam was doing or?
No, I just want to say it for last agenda item on here.
Yeah.
Unless we go into the consent.
Thank you.
All right, I got a motion second for the resolution. Any other questions, comments? Those in favor?
All right.
Opposed, motion carries. Thank you, Sam.
Thank you. I'll be hanging out on here if you need me.
All right, BJ, well, we got 2 minutes for the public hearing. Bill 7-1, discuss, consider approving contract with Satterfield and Ponticus Construction Incorporated for the construction of the women's dormitory and temporary jail. Nathan Brandon jumped on this, so we can get it on our agenda, get it approved, so we can get moving. The dollar amount that's proposed in the contract, Nathan is ready for us to approve the contract or approve it, for me to sign it once all the details get worked out. But they've lowered the price to 2.9 million. I think it started out at 3.7. Does that sound right? And down to 2.9 million. So between the sheriff and Carl Griffith and Satterfield Ponticus, price has been.
Judge, can I say a few words?
Yes, sir. You're welcome. to say a
I
few
think
words.
this is extremely important that the court give you the ability, because I know they're still working out some fine line details on the contract. But it's imperative that we get this project started ASAP. And I think y'all know that. I just wanted to make sure we went on record that we need to give the judge the ability to, because I know.
Yeah,
Nathan-
you've all got an
Nathan
email
at
with the
SP.
contract. You got a copy of the contract, but you got an email from Brandon Martin also.
I did.
And S&P has a representative here. Judge, S&P has a representative here if you have any questions too.
Who's here?
Eric is,
Hi, Eric.
he's one of the senior vice presidents.
Thank you for coming. I got a motion by Commissioner Tice. Second by Commissioner Gore to give me the authority to sign the contract once the details are worked out with attorney.
Yes, correct.
Is that correct? All right, any other questions, comments?
Who's reviewing the contract? Is that Brandon Mark?
Yeah. Yeah, he's been working, like I said, he jumped on it to get it done, so during the holidays here. I'm like a key thing, so. All right, I got a motion second, no other questions, those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries. 7.2, discuss and consider awarding the Whites Park re-roof project to CR Systems Incorporated, an amount of $298,626. That's from Mike Leslie.
Yeah, I'll take this.
I'll go ahead.
I talked to Mike this morning and we discussed the project and he's vetted the low bid of $298,626 CR Systems Inc. That's the re-roofing of Whites Park, and also within that re-roof, Judge, there is a mechanical on there that will be addressed to, which long before I was commissioner, I was with Mike Leslie and looked at that project, and that's where the main problem was. So it's a real good number. I expected it to come in a little bit higher, but it's a good number, Your Honor, and contractor doing vetting and everything.
And you're making a motion.
I'm making a motion.
Motion by Commissioner Tice,
Yes.
Second.
second by Commissioner Collins.
And actually, if you look at the bid spread, we did get a good price.
Real good price.
All right, any other questions, comments? Those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries. BJ, you out there?
He's not here yet.
Okay, thank you. You say he is here?
He is here, but down hall.
All right. 7.3, discuss and consider contract for HOK regarding the Justice Center project.
Can we take that into executive session, and discuss with the attorney?
We can, we definitely can. I mean, I'd like.
I mean, then we come back and discuss more out here. That work.
Commissioner Gore put it on. so-
I have no problem with that. We can discuss it there and then come back out here and finish the discussion.
All right,
We got an attorney present.
yeah,
Where is she?
Dwayne's over.
Dwayne's here? Okay.
Dwayne, you'll have to join us. I know Ashley's out this morning too for executive session.
Oh, yes, yes.
Discuss that contract,
Okay.
if you don't mind.
No, I was.
I didn't mean you have to. I mean,
No,
we
I
do
was-
have to have
I was
an attorney.
prepared to be there.
okay.
I'm just, in awe, we got Mr. Elias out here.
Oh, don't be talking about, come on.
One of my silver heroes, so, I'm just hanging out over here, Your Honor. I'm here.
Yeah, you can sit by him if you want to, Dwayne.
Thank you, Your Honor.
All right, I see BJ's here. Let's go to 5.2. Public hearing 10 a.m. regarding Coneflower Storage Project LLC 2022 reinvestment zone. So it's 10:03 a.m. We will recess out of regular session and go into public hearings this time. BJ, good morning.
Morning, Judge, Commissioners.
Merry Christmas, Big Dave.
Same to you. Very good. This is a public hearing to consider establishing a reinvestment zone for the Coneflower Storage Project LLC project. If you recall, this is a battery energy storage system facility that's proposed to be sited on Hatcherville Road, and public hearing is required as part of the tax abatement process.
All right, is there any public comments regarding Coneflower Storage Project reinvestment zone? Hear none, still 10:03 a.m. We will adjourn out of public hearing, go back into regular session of Commissioners Court. 5.3, discuss and consider order designating the Coneflower Storage Project LLC 2022 reinvestment zone.
Thank you, Judge, Commissioner. This is an order that designates or creates the Coneflower Storage Project LLC 2022 reinvestment zone. As the order cites, the court has adopted tax abatement guidelines that have been applied and applicable to this request. Coneflower has published the notice as required per statute, and the designation of reinvestment zone is required to move forward with the tax abatement process.
Move for approval.
Second.
Motion by Commissioner Combs, second by Commissioner Tice. It's gonna be funny saying Commissioner Dagley for a while. If I forget your name, just,
I'll
Vote me, okay.
I'll elbow you, Judge.
I got a motion second. Any other questions, comments? Those in favor? Opposed? Motion carries. Yeah, if I call you Combs, you can know why. It's been 4 years. 5.4, discuss and consider IAH Transload LLC tax abatement application. BJ.
Thank you, Judge, Commissioners. You recall the court accepted an application presented by IAH Transload One LLC, consideration for a transload facility that's going to be based in the Cedar Point Industrial Park. The project will occupy 175,000 square feet, anticipated to create anywhere between 100 and 350 jobs, including 100 construction jobs over time, based upon $62 million in qualified improvements. So what you have before you is a recommendation for the court's consideration today. As is usual, per usual, we presented an economic impact analysis of the impact of the 350 jobs coming to the Chambers County economy. And those elements are cited on page 1. The recommendation for today, given the industry sector, who IAH is, if you recall, the court considered and approved an abatement for Seba Logistics sometime last year. And this is the same entity, different project, same company. What is presented for recommendation or review today is to approve the application as presented and consider a 10-year tax abatement of 50%. Included in the handout or the package today is an overview of the economic impact of the $30 million investment. Revenue to the county would be based upon 50%, $638,315 over a 10-year period. And then per request, we've also illustrated the annual school equalization tax revenue that would be derived over the time of the project, which should be approximately $72,000. So what's being requested today is the court to approve the application and then approve the recommended tax abatement profile.
Plus the annual minimum inventory also.
That is correct.
Nearly 400,000 a year.
But their transload, are we really gonna be having that much inventory?
They have to. I mean,
And they're giving us a minimum, so that's what they're agreeing to pay. That's
correct.
inventory.
Right.
Which I'm really glad we started putting that in our tax
Right.
abatements. Yeah. That goes wise.
Yeah, Commissioner Hammond discussed that with me again this morning too, and he would like to either see, and I agree with him, either a 7-year 50% abatement, or they give something to the citizens community much like a lot of the other 10-year abatements that we've been doing recently. You know, if they could come up with a project that they could help fund or something for some of the citizens in their area or in Chambers County.
Very good. We'll communicate that back to the applicant for consideration. The 50% tax abatement over 10 years is simply consistent with the previous ones that have been approved by the court this year.
Right. Understand, but you also understand there's a shift going in that.
Sure.
Yeah, and it actually is down from 60% that we had. It
And
was kind of the norm previously.
yeah, and most of the ones we've been approving recently, especially recently, you know, there's been other projects tied to them
That's
that
great.
they're doing. You know, that's what
Yeah, and
CGS has been doing and, you know, also KTN. And so.
so quality of life type projects is what you're thinking, playgrounds, ballparks, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
All right, entertain a motion.
That would be my motion, that we make it conditioned upon a contribution to the quality of life for citizens of Chambers County.
Motion by Commissioner Combs, second by Commissioner Moore. Any questions, comments? Those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries. 5.5, discuss, consider freeze pack logistics tax abatement application.
Thank you, Judge, Commissioners. This is an application that's being presented by Freeze Pack Logistics. Freeze Pack Logistics intends to build a cold storage facility site in Cedarport Industrial Park. As noted in the cover letter, Freeze Pack's been in business for quite some time, since 1961. They have a substantial representation in square footage across the country related to cold storage. They would be partnering with BG Capital LLC to build the first phase of a 270,000 square foot cold storage facility on Fisher Road. And so what's presented today for consideration is simply to accept the application and move forward with the consideration for tax abatement going forward.
Make a motion that we accept the application.
Second. Motion by Commissioner Combs, second by Commissioner Tice.
Yeah, I do have a comment.
Go ahead.
Two things. They are adjacent to some residential property. They're on the far east side. So in order to be eligible for the abatement, they do need to adhere to the good neighbor policy, which supersedes any of our minimum requirements. And I think, I would imagine that the commissioners would also expect some kind of quality of life contribution on this one also.
Very good.
All right, any other questions, comments, those in favor?
All right.
Opposed, motion carried. 5.6, discuss, consider Clay Partners Chapter 31 agreement.
I have a handout here for the commissioners.
Aaron, will you pass it around, please?
Sorry, thank you, Aaron. Didn't get a chance to get this to you. The court has taken some action on this previously with respect to the elements that are associated with the Clay Partners amendment, and they agreed to agreement to amend the amendment. It was and so this was deemed efficient so as to allow the Clay to enter into a Chapter 381 proposal and the ability to sign the asset. MSI, who has presented a proposal for consideration to the court in order to purchase the building, but also incentivize the acquisition of the facility. So what you have before you is a handout. It's two documents. Essentially, it's a full 381 draft that was agreed to and approved by the court previously, but now includes some of the issues that came up during discussion, specifically the inventory covenant, which was not in existence when Clay entered into their agreement some time ago. And so when you look at page 5 under section 6, there is an inventory covenant that speaks to the expectation that there's going to be a minimum inventory, just as what we just previously spoken about. In this case, MSI anticipates that every January 1st over the term of the abatement, there will be $10 million in inventory. And so that's been included. There's also an employment covenant that speaks to some of the considerations with respect to job creation. Given that the assignee is a known entity at this point, it's alluded to, both Clay is alluded to, as well as the designee. In this case, it's Clay Partners D5 assignee, who is MSI. So what is going to occur today, in fact, the court has already approved the agreement that this is simply an administrative action to give the court, full review of the documents that are associated with the assignment. So this is the Chapter 381 agreement formally presented for the court's approval. And then there is a an actual formal consent or resolution that would allow for the assignment once the 381 agreement is approved and executed by Clay and the court, and then subsequently assigned to MSI as part of the economic development agreement. So you have a chapter 381 agreement, primary document, and then the resolution that simply approves the assignment of the abatement. And then lastly, a consent and estoppel, which formalizes the consent by the court. And this is all just simply administrative actions that to verify what the court has already approved.
So moved.
Motion by Commissioner Combs, second by Commissioner Tice. Questions?
It's going to be confusing for a long time.
Be glad to get it done.
Really.
Those in favor? Opposed, motion carries 5-7. Discuss, consider assignment of Clay Partners Chapter 31 agreement to MS International Inc.
Same action.
Same motion.
Second.
Motion by Commissioner Combs, second by Commissioner Tice. No questions? Those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Personnel
Thank you,
18.
BJ.
Yeah,
Thank you
thank you,
very much.
BJ.
Thank you, BJ.
Have a happy New Year, BJ.
Yes, same thing.
Hey, stick around. We're gonna, at 10:30, we're gonna have a little reception.
That's right.
Cross hall, so. If you'd like to. Personnel 18.1, discuss, consider reinstating years of service. Vacation and longevity for Liliana Vargas and Amy Tapp. We still don't have a policy, but
I'll move to approve it.
Second.
I know we, motion by Commissioner Combs, second by Commissioner Gore. We've asked HR to work on it, so Chelsea. Any questions, comments? Those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries. Consent. And we're going to the precinct 4 first.
Yeah, I just got one question, one last question.
One question on your last board.
Yeah, what in the world, who is the recovery manager?
What number?
Number 5, under job description.
Okay.
That's Bill, that's Bill Wallace. Bill Bola.
Now that was funny.
Oh, by the way, while we're talking about that, let me express my gratitude to our emergency management team for the preparations that were put in place for this winter storm that we just had. So great job, great teamwork, and I appreciate it from the bottom of my heart. All right, so it's Bill Bola. Is that the only question you had?
That's it. That's it.
All right, precinct 2.
Good.
1,
Want to take 5 to executive.
5 to executive session.
That's right.
Anything else, Commissioner?
No, sir.
All right, entertain the motion on the consent.
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Commissioner Combs, second by Commissioner Tice. No other questions, those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries. All right, I think I covered all except for.
That's everything. Except for two.
All right, so it's 10:15. My computer's about to shut down. 10:15, we're gonna take a recess and recognize Commissioner Combs, have a reception, and then we're going to executive session from there and take job descriptions, and then 7.3 contract with HOK. I think I covered everything else.
Judge, you gonna cover me and King playing a game of horse after this?
Let me get EMS here before you start. For him, not you, Ken. All right, we'll recess 10:16. All right, Commissioner Court, come to order after executive session. It's 12 noon. Let's go to approve job descriptions. I'll entertain a motion. That was the only one pulled from the consent.
Make a motion that we pull the job description for. What was that for? I think it was, forget which one it was, it's for Bill Bowler. Or the
Recovery manager?
Recovery manager, they'll approve all the rest of them.
Motion by Commissioner Gore, second by Commissioner Tice. Any questions, comments, those in favor? Opposed, motion carries. 7.3. Discuss consider contract with HOK regarding the Justice Center project.
Make a motion on that, Judge, I mean. We'll make a motion and then I'll make my comments after that, if I get a second. I'll make a motion that we give them notice. I know we have to give them 30-day notice that we terminate the contract with HOK. I'll second it so we can get discussion.
Motion by Commissioner Gore, second by Commissioner Combs. Go ahead.
My comments on that, they have not met their. They haven't met the needs of our.
And met our expectations.
They have not met their expectations. They continue to miss deadlines. They continuously to over design, which that may be something that all architects do, and we have to continue to have meetings to draw them in. I think we brought them in 3 times and talked to them, and they have continuously not gotten any better. And I just feel that for what we have paid them, we could receive everything that we have paid them for and be even and move forward with a different architect company.
Yes.
Yeah, I would like to second what he's saying. I agree 100%. However, want to differ just a little bit in that I think we need to at least have one more conversation with them and hit the pause button for a couple of weeks. And if we can't get things to straighten out, I think we'll need to go forward. So we'll just see how it ends out on the vote.
Yeah, and I agree there's been issues. But how far is it gonna put us behind on jail that we should have built 5 years ago or more? And I think we're interviewing the B3 teams on the 9th. I think those in place, we work with them and then go from there. So,
I don't know if they're bad habits when we change those, Judge. I mean, the way they have been going may predict the way we move forward.
good day.
Your Honor, before I cast my vote on the motion Commissioner Gore made, HOK Architects has fumbled the ball, so to speak, Billy. Drug some deadlines out. There has been some concerns with some people in some areas with the architectural industry as a whole. And when they over design, most architects do over design. And then we value engineer from that point. It's my position right now that we have another sit down with HOK and see if we can get some things ironed out moving forward. And I just don't think that's a permanent solution at this point in time.
All right, I got a motion and second. Any other comments? Hearing none, those in favor? Opposed?
Nay.
Motion fails 2-1. All right, I think we covered it all. Again, Commissioner Combs, thank you so much.
Been a pleasure, Judge.
Okay. Happy New Year.
Billy, love you, brother.
Bless you. All right, with that, here, you get to the last one here.
Do a good one, Billy. Do a good one.
We adjourn. Thank you, Billy.
Cool.